The Clever Rabbit. Once upon a time, in a lush green forest nestled between two tall mountains, there lived a clever rabbit named Rumi. Unlike other animals who relied on strength or speed, Rumi relied on a sharp mind and quick thinking. His fur was as white as snow, his eyes twinkled with mischief, and he was known throughout the forest not just for his cleverness, but also for his kindness. All the animals respected Rumi, for he had helped many of them escape dangers or solve problems. But as word of his cleverness spread, it reached the ears of someone who did not take it kindly, the big gray wolf, who ruled the northern side of the forest. The wolf, named Garth, was a fierce and proud creature. He believed that the strongest should rule and feared nothing, or so he claimed. But deep down, Garth knew that cleverness could sometimes beat strength, and he hated the idea that a little rabbit might be more powerful than he was in any way. So one morning, as dew still clung to the leaves and the forest birds sang their cheerful tunes, Garth gathered his pack and growled, "I want that rabbit brought to me. Let's see how clever he really is." The word traveled fast, as it always did in the forest. When the birds overhead saw the wolves moving, they warned the squirrels, who told the deer, who passed it on to the hedgehogs. It wasn't long before Rumi heard the news. "The wolf wants you, Rumi," said Mina the bluebird, landing on a branch above him. "He says he wants to test your cleverness." Rumi twitched his nose. "Test it, or destroy it." "Probably both," Mina said. "You must be careful." "I always am," said Rumi, smiling. "Let's see what game the wolf wants to play." That evening, the wolves arrived at Rumi's burrow, but the rabbit was waiting for them, not inside but on a rock nearby. "Ah, Rumi," growled Garth, stepping forward. "I've heard much about you. They say you're the cleverest creature in the forest." "Flattering," said Rumi, hopping down. "But what brings you all the way to my humble home?" "I have a challenge," said Garth, licking his lips. 3 tests. If you pass, I leave you and your forest friends in peace. If you fail, you must serve me for the rest of your days." Rumi's ears twitched. "And if I refuse? Then I'll take that as a loss and act accordingly," Garth said, his voice cold. "Accept the challenge, rabbit." Rumi nodded. "Very well. What are your tests?" Test 1. The Maze of Thorns. The next morning, Rumi was led to a part of the forest few animals dared enter, the Maze of Thorns. Giant hedges twisted and turned, their branches covered with sharp, poisonous thorns. Even the bravest creatures stayed far away. "To win," said Garth, "you must enter the maze and find the golden feather hidden at its center. You have until sundown." Rumi looked at the twisted green walls. "Very well," he said, and hopped inside. The maze was quiet, except for the rustle of leaves. Shadows shifted with every step, but Rumi didn't panic. Instead of rushing forward, he paused and sniffed the ground. "Ah," he said to himself, "the wind blows from the north. That means the center of the maze must be downwind." Clever, Garth, but not clever enough. Rumi followed the scent of crushed herbs and distant flowers, taking note of the wind's direction. When he reached a dead end, he didn't turn around. Instead, he dug beneath the hedge, crawling through the loose soil to the next path. Little by little, using his nose, ears, and paws, he moved closer to the center. By mid-afternoon, as the sun dipped low, he found it, a golden feather lying atop a smooth stone. He carefully picked it up with his teeth and made his way back the same way he had come, digging under the hedges to avoid getting lost. When he emerged, golden feather in his mouth, Garth narrowed his eyes. "You cheated," he growled. "I used my brain," said Rumi calmly. "You never said I had to walk the paths." The other animals, watching from the edges, cheered. Garth growled, but said nothing. Test 2. The Lake of Illusions. The next day, Garth brought Rumi to a strange lake deep in the forest. The water was perfectly still, and strange images shimmered on its surface. Pictures of food, treasures, and even other animals. "This is the Lake of Illusions," Garth explained. "Your task is simple. Find a real bridge that leads across. The others are illusions. Step on the wrong one, and you fall into the lake and never come out." Rumi looked at the lake. 10 bridges stretched across it, each one different, some made of stone, some of rope, some of wood. But how to tell the real from the fake? The rabbit sat quietly for a moment, watching the water. Then he picked up a small pebble and tossed it toward the first bridge. It passed right through and splashed into the lake. Ah, he murmured. Illusion. One by one, he tested the bridges. But all seemed fake, even the seventh, which looked solid and real. The pebble passed right through. Then Rumi frowned. Wait, he whispered. He walked to the edge of the lake, picked a clover from the grass, and dropped it. Instead of falling into the water, it floated in the air, right above an invisible path. Rumi grinned. You hid the real bridge by making it invisible, he called. But the air above it is still solid. Carefully, he hopped onto the invisible bridge, testing each step. The other animals gasped as he crossed seemingly thin air. But Rumi didn't fall. He reached the far shore and turned around with a triumphant grin. Garth snarled, frustrated. 2 tests passed. 1 remains. Test 3, the choice. For the final test, Garth gathered all the animals of the forest to witness it. In this final challenge, said the wolf, you must answer a question. But be warned, a wrong answer will cost you dearly. Rumi nodded. Ask away. Garth raised his paw. 2 squirrels stepped forward, each carrying a small wooden box. One was painted blue, the other red. One of these boxes holds a key, Garth said. The key that can open the gate to the mountain caves, where peace and treasure await. The other holds a scorpion, whose sting is deadly. You may ask 1 question about the boxes, then you must choose. Rumi looked at the boxes. 1 question, He thought for a moment. Then he said, let me ask the squirrels 1 thing. If I pointed to the red box and asked the other squirrel what's inside, what would they say? The squirrels blinked. Garth raised an eyebrow. Why ask that? Rumi smiled. Just let them answer. The first squirrel thought hard and said, if you pointed to the red box and asked the other squirrel, he would say scorpion. Then I choose the blue box, said Rumi. He stepped forward and opened the blue box, and inside was the golden key. The crowd erupted in cheers. Garth was stunned. Ow, it's an old trick, said Rumi. 1 box is safe. If I ask what the other squirrel would say, I know they'll either lie or tell the truth. But either way, I get the opposite answer. So I picked the other box. Garth growled and turned away. He had lost. A forest changed. From that day on, the forest changed. Garth, humbled by his defeat, was no longer ruled by fear. The animals respected him less, and respected Rumi even more. But Rumi didn't use his new fame to boast. Instead, he continued to help his fellow animals, solve problems, and teach others how to think cleverly and kindly. As the sun rose and set over the forest, the story of the clever rabbit was told again and again, by birds in the trees, by frogs in the ponds, and by deer in the clearings. And every time it was told, animals learned that strength can be challenged, fear can be outwitted, and even the smallest creature can outsmart the mightiest beast. And Rumi? He lived a long, happy life, clever as ever and always ready for the next challenge.